If I didn't live with this disease, I would think they were lying, that you could have that much pain and still be breathing.
Continuous aching pain.
I've been hospitalized 4 or 5 times a year.
Sometimes I might be in the hospital for a week.
I almost died at 12.
Wherever blood flows, sickle cell can destroy those organs. It causes significant damage to all organs and early death.
Sickle cell patients require transfusion for the duration of their life.
Red blood cell transfusions can be life-saving. He needs 8 units of blood each month for this procedure.
I've easily had over 200 units of blood.
Every transfusion for a sickle cell patient really needs to be a specially matched blood product. Otherwise, the red cell transfusion won't survive. And the only way to find those specially matched blood products is to screen the African American blood donors.
People with sickle cell disease are desperate for blood from African American donors.
I could screen 1,000 Caucasian donations and probably not find one specially matched product, but I could screen 1,000 African American donations and probably find a few hundred that would match our sickle cell patients.
We need blood to help save people's lives.
Without it, we can't live. We basically die an early death.
Donate blood. It's well needed in the sickle cell community.
They're not just saving one life, they're saving an entire family.
What you're about to see is an eye-opening look at the growing need for more African Americans to donate blood, specifically to help sickle cell patients. I'm Pat Michaels.
And I'm Susan Forbes. We hope what we're about to show you will create a call to action among the African American community to donate blood, because African American blood donors are desperately needed. Sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder that primarily affects African Americans.
People who suffer from the disease often require regular blood transfusions just to live. The transfusions they receive replace the deformed sickle-shaped red blood cells that are the hallmark of sickle cell disease. Those disease cells jam up and stick to the walls of blood vessels, blocking flow and causing extreme pain, and that can be life-threatening. When this happens, blood transfusions are needed to save the patient's life. In a moment, you'll see why the best possible match for many African Americans with sickle cell disease is for them to receive blood from other African Americans.
But first, OneBlood's Kristen Yost takes us inside Atrium Health's Levine Cancer Institute and shows us what sickle cell patients are enduring and the staggering amount of blood they require to live.
Once a month,
It's just like a continuous aching pain.
for about 4 hours,
It's not a cure, but what it does, it kind of temporizes his condition.
Orlando Ager undergoes what's known as a blood exchange to combat his sickle cell disease.
So basically what's happening is he has 2 different IVs. So one port is taking blood out of him into a waste bag over there in the back. And the other port is where blood is getting into his body. So that's sickle cell negative blood going into his body. His sickle cell blood is coming out of this port and going into a waste bag. And so you cycle the body through this a couple of times. He needs 8 units of blood each month for this procedure.
Blood donors are literally Ager's lifeline. In just the past 5 years, he has received more than 500 units of blood by having monthly blood exchanges, a staggering reality that even Ager finds hard to believe.
505 years is just incredible.
And when he thinks about the hundreds of blood donors keeping him alive,
Man, I wouldn't even know what to say to them people. I would be grateful though, very grateful. I'm very grateful right now. I'm still here, they helping me live. 1 minute I might be slowed down. Once I get that blood exchange after a few hours, I'm back up and back to normal.
Doctors are turning to blood exchanges more often to treat sickle cell patients. The monthly procedure helps keep sickle cell complications from occurring, which means less time in the emergency room and enables a better quality of life. But they require a lot of blood at one time.
Those patients, you really need to get about 6, sometimes over 10 bags of blood every single time you do that procedure. I have a guy who's in his 40s, he needs 14 bags of blood every month. We need blood to help save people's lives. People with sickle cell disease are desperate for blood from African American donors. Whether you have sickle cell disease or some other medical problem that requires frequent transfusions, you need to be given blood that is as closely matched to you as possible. And the potential of that happening is better when there's a diverse blood supply.
Dr. Iffy says it comes down to trust and awareness.
So there's a lot of distrust amongst the African American community with healthcare and then healthcare research and intervention. So the people are very nervous about having their blood out there if they don't understand why it's being used, how it's being used, and who's going to benefit from it. And so I think we haven't done a really good job with communicating to the community about the importance of African American blood donation, about how vital it is to help save the lives of members of their own community.
Orlando Ager is hoping that by sharing his story, more African Americans will be inspired to donate blood.
A lot of people don't understand the pain we go through. Keep donating. Please keep donating. We need it more than anybody.
In Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm Kristen Yost for OneBlood.
So why do African Americans with sickle cell disease need blood from other African Americans? Well, it all comes down to genetics.
And so if you're transfused with blood from a different ancestry, the tendency is that you may develop antibodies or an allergic reaction, quote unquote, to the other person's blood units. And this generates antibodies in you so that the next time you get transfused, it can cause a severe reaction that has the potential of actually taking your life. And so it's pretty important that we look at sickle cell patients who, one, are going to get transfused a lot more than the typical population, and that we type their blood to be reflective of the African ancestry. Now, the challenge with that is that most blood donors are not African American or of African ancestry.
And that's where the problem lies. Not enough African Americans donate blood, and the imbalance is significant. The latest data shows that only about 5% of the donor population is African American. Now compare that to Caucasians, who make up more than 72% of the donor population. The number of African American donors is vastly out of balance with the ethnic makeup of the nation, yet they are the people most likely to be the perfect match for most sickle cell patients.
I could screen 1,000 Caucasian donations and probably not find one specially matched product for my sickle cell patient. But I could screen 1,000 African American donations and probably find a few hundred that would match our sickle cell patients.
So why is that? Well, it all has to do with antigens. You may not know it, but our red blood cells have antigens on them. Antigens are subtypings on the surface of our red cells. There are more than 350 different antigens that exist. Our genetics determine the antigens that we have and the antigens that we lack. When it comes to blood transfusions, patients must receive blood that not only matches their blood type, but also matches their antigen profile. There are teams of people working behind the scenes at OneBlood, searching day and night, trying to find blood that has the perfect combination of antigens to provide for sickle cell patients. And as you're about to see, it can often be like finding a needle in a haystack.
This unit right here, you'll notice, is big C, big E, K, FYA or Duffy, A and B negative.
It may sound like a secret code.
That's a really, really good one.
But in actuality, they are names of antigens.
This is a great rare unit that certainly matches one of our sickle patients.
And when it comes to finding the perfect match, it all comes down to one thing.
It's all about the antigens, whether they're there, whether they're not there.
Around the clock, the OneBlood Reference Lab team is testing and screening blood donations for sickle cell patients, searching for the right unit of blood that has exactly the right combination of antigens.
OneBlood never sleeps. We have stat requests in the middle of the night. We have stat requests on Christmas morning. People, when they need blood when they need it.
Meeting that need requires a diverse blood supply.
This is what we refer to as the global antigen frequencies. And what this tells us is how often a certain antigen type occurs in our population.
The people most likely to have the perfect combination of antigens for many sickle cell patients are African Americans.
And you'll notice here that the Duffy antigen occurs in 66% of Caucasian, but only occurs in 10% of African Americans. I have less than 34% chance of finding it in the Caucasian population. I can find it, but only a 34% chance. But I've got a 90% chance of finding a Duffy negative matched blood product for my sickle cell patient if I screen African American donors. You'll notice that if I needed a unit that was Duffy 3 negative, 100% of Caucasians are going to have it, but over 70% of African Americans will lack it. So when I need to find a unit that is negative for the Duffy 3, I'm not going to find it in the Caucasian population. I'm only going to find units negative for the Duffy 3 in our African American donors. This is where we target our African American donors in order to provide these specially matched products for our sickle patients.
How hard is it to find that combination?
Hard, very hard.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of effort and a lot of dedication by a team of people. And we're very fortunate to have a great team of people dedicated to do that here at OneBlood.
When a rare unit is found, it is carefully categorized, specially tagged, and stored. Some are used right away. Others head for the deep freezer, where they can be stored for up to 10 years.
This little E negative is extremely rare as well. We have to screen 100 donors to find one donor that is little E negative. So this is a pretty rare unit right here.
There is a constant need for rare blood to help sickle cell patients, and the only way to increase the supply is to increase the diversity of the donor population.
Typically, the donor population maybe isn't as diverse as we would like it to be. If it was more diverse, that would give us more opportunities to screen more units and to be able to provide more specially matched blood to our sickle patients.
OneBlood has multiple reference labs throughout its service area where team members are testing and screening the blood supply, searching for rare blood matches for a multitude of patients. But the majority of what they are looking for will go to sickle cell patients. In fact, in our North Carolina lab, 65% of operations there are dedicated to finding sickle cell matches. In our Miami lab, it's 45%. In Jacksonville and Tallahassee, 35%. And in Orlando and St. Petersburg, it's 25%. And they could find the matches a lot faster if we had more diversity in the blood supply.
Because screening the right ethnic group makes it easier, quicker, and faster to find the specially matched blood products for our sickle cell patients.
OneBlood not only provides rare blood for sickle cell patients in our region, but also around the world. In July, we sent 2 units of extraordinarily rare blood to Paris to help treat a very sick 10-year-old boy. His sickle cell anemia was so severe that he will need a bone marrow transplant, which requires additional blood. To improve the young boy's condition, he needs to receive 5 units of blood 15 days before the bone marrow transplant. Thanks to OneBlood's extensive antigen testing program, we have identified 2 units from one donor who matches the child's transfusion needs.
And we were lucky to find 2 very special units here in the South Florida area. So we packed those units and we sent it to Paris, and it's going to help for the future bone marrow transplantation in that child. So in order to go to the complete process of transplanting his bone marrow, to cure him, we need approximately 10 units of blood. In order for us to continue helping the patient and giving transfusion to him, we need to test approximately 100,000 people to find one matching unit of blood.
And at last check, they have only 4 units. But again, they need as many as 10 units of specially matched blood in order to proceed with a bone marrow transplant. Families of sickle cell patients are often impacted by their loved one's disease.
OneBlood's Serena Fazan shows us how a OneBlood team member is turning his wife's fight against sickle cell into a mission to recruit more African American donors to not only save his wife's life, but also the lives of other sickle cell patients.
As a mother, Highness Garcia tries to keep up her strength for her family, but sometimes it's physically difficult.
All her blood cells are bad.
Highness has sickle cell disease, an incurable blood disorder.
You know, maybe later on tonight might end up in the hospital. It's just how sickle cell is.
She was born with sickle cell. Patients like her do not have enough healthy red blood cells. Those cells are essential for carrying oxygen throughout the body.
And because of the lack of oxygen and how they get stuck in the blood vessels, that's what produces the pain.
And leaves Highness in dire need of blood transfusions. Her only lifeline comes from willing donors.
They're not just saving one life, they're saving an entire family.
But for Highness, it's harder to get the blood she desperately needs. Donors that match her genetic profile are more hesitant to give blood. Her husband, Edson, was one of them.
You know, growing up, I didn't know the importance of donating, until one day the blood bus came to my job where I used to work, and the lady asked me to donate. And I said to her, I didn't want to donate, that I was afraid.
Fear of donating is one reason why fewer African Americans and Hispanics donate blood. Another reason, a lack of awareness.
But Edson did not let fear stop him that day. Love for his wife and that blood bus took such a strong hold, it changed the course of his life.
I work for the blood center. I've been there for 12 years.
His job at OneBlood, recruiting minority donors and educating them on why it's so important for them to donate blood. For Edson, working at OneBlood is more than a job, it's personal.
You know, it is a big challenge. I love what I do. You know, I'm motivated because of my wife.
And their children. Highness's greatest need for transfusion came during both girls' delivery.
Most important blood donations I have ever gotten was when I was in labor.
A story Edson openly shares with potential donors.
Without the blood transfusions, you know, I don't think that my wife would be alive today.
It just gives me so much grace. It gives me so much happiness, the fact that, you know, he gets the chance not just to do it for his wife, but to do it for other people as well.
So all those suffering with sickle cell have hope to enjoy another day.
It's really fun when Mommy's energized.
For OneBlood, I'm Serena Vizan.
It's one thing to live with sickle cell and all of its challenges, but it's another to be a doctor who lives with the disease. An Orlando physician is fighting the effects of sickle cell and makes it public in a big way. Her influence goes around the world. She wants to help those with sickle cell and change what we think about it and what we can do about it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Dr. Simone Says.
I am a medical doctor with sickle cell disorder.
For Dr. Simone Ewan, sharing her life with sickle cell disease has become her new profession, even on days when she doesn't quite feel up to it.
It's not just when I'm at my mountaintop. It's when I'm in the valley. That's when I want to be able to connect with you guys.
From her Orlando home, she reaches around the globe with her YouTube channel, Facebook, forums, and other forms of social media. This all grew out of her bestseller book called A Doctor in a Patient's Body, Dreaming Big with Sickle Cell Disease and Chronic Pain.
I stopped practicing, but I don't have to let that knowledge die. I can apply it elsewhere. There are people who need it. A lot of what people experience aren't even in the textbooks yet, but I've experienced it too.
And like most sickle cell patients, she depends on blood donors to help her survive.
I easily had, and I tell people this, I've easily had over 200 units of blood. I am in my 40s, and especially when I was first diagnosed, even before I was diagnosed, they didn't know what I had. I almost died at 12. I got a boatload of transfusions, during the span of 1 month.
Sickle cell has taken its toll. Just breathing is difficult, forcing her to depend on supplemental oxygen.
I've been on it ever since. And it's 24/7, 7 days a week. I have to sleep with it.
She says she connects so well with others battling sickle cell because she understands the pain.
There is so much pain and pain and pain, bone pain all the time. I used to tell my husband, if I didn't live with this disease, I would think they were lying. Like that you could have that much pain and still be breathing.
And now she's pleading with the African American community to donate blood to help others like her.
You'd never know when your turn comes around that you actually need a matched, transfusion, like from your own community too. And so I just urge everybody to donate, and I believe the good will come back to you. And without it, we can't live. We basically die an early death. And I have watched too many of my friends die. A lot of times you don't see a face, but this is my face. And my face is representative of many people in my African American community that need blood to live.
Dr. Simone is working on a second book that is geared towards the medical community to better understand challenges sickle cell patients face.
We also wanted to take our message of the need for more African Americans to donate blood directly to blood donors themselves. And our Stephanie Zurin joins us now for that part of the story.
Joseph is a dedicated blood donor who has a personal connection to donating blood.
That's because his son battled sickle cell disease before passing away several years ago. When Joseph realized the need for more African Americans to donate blood to help sickle cell patients, he set out on a mission to recruit his friends to start donating.
That's my son, my firstborn boy. Yes, he's 26 when he died in 1994. And he would get up in the morning and he would have a lot of pain. Some days couldn't even get out of bed for that matter because his joints were paining him so much. And he has since passed away. And he used to have regularly blood transfusions. Every time I look at him and he's getting blood, I like, if somebody didn't give, he couldn't get. And it even inspired me more to donate year after year after year. Morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today? Yes. And I brought my friend with me. I brought my friend to donate whole blood today. And I'm going to try and get him to donate regularly. Wonderful. Whenever I come, I'm bringing him. Now, I have taken it upon myself to try and encourage more of my friends, who are mostly African Americans, to donate because of this, because of what I know.
I feel it's good. Well, we hang out every Thursday anyway, so extra day a week ain't gonna hurt. And then when Joe asked me, I didn't think twice.
That is going to be a lifelong mission as long as I live. I'll be going out there, talking to my friends and encouraging them to come in when I come in. At least every time I come, I have to bring someone. I must get someone. Oh, I just want to say thanks for coming in, bro, and doing what you do. So I think my job now is to enlighten them as to what really it takes and how simple it is for, humanity's sake. Humanity, you save a life, We all are here to help each other out, and if you can, let's do it.
Since Joseph's last donation, he reached out to let us know that during his next visit, he will be bringing along 2 more friends. He's on a mission to encourage the African American community to donate blood.
That is such a great story, Stephanie. And other African American donors that we've spoken with have the exact same message.
I make a difference. I donate blood.
There's a great need for that, especially in the African American community. And we need to go out and be there for one another. You don't know who your blood is helping, but know that it's helping someone.
I thank God to be able to do something like that, to save someone's life, to contribute to saving someone's life.
Donating blood is one of the easiest things to do.
And we are making it very easy for you to help sickle cell patients. All you need to do is go right to oneblood.org right now, and that's where you'll find additional information about sickle cell disease, along with a recording of this show. And while you're there, you can also book an appointment to donate blood. And make sure you share that information with your friends and family. Again, that's all at oneblood.org. Thank you for joining us for this OneBlood special presentation.
And remember, whatever your ethnicity, blood is always needed, so share your power to save a life and donate blood.